Okay, folks, here we go.
Guys, here we go. Let's have a good show.
One B, stand by. Okay,
Yeah.
Yacht, stand.
Yeah,
Take it.
take it at midfield.
Okay,
Just
go
go right
opposite
now.
up
Go to
there.
camera
Well,
3.
can
3.
you
Go to the
Thank
perfect,
you.
just like that.
I'll just go ahead.
Yeah, graphics 2 is going to be up for the first. Okay.
Take it.
Go right now. Go to camera 3. Go. Yep.
Let's go.
Yeah,
Can you
go to the perfect, just like that. No music.
I'm going to hand to Q, Sophie.
Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it.
Radio.
Fine,
Be
I'm
on
gonna
radio
hand
in the Canal Zone.
All right, guys, mic check.
Yeah, go ready.
Okay, Ricky, mic.
Yep, I am ready.
Wait for it. Wait for it. 2.5.
Willie, mic check.
Yep, let's go.
1B, stand by.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6,
5,
4, 3, 2, 1, and we're live.
Okay, and go for it, guys.
All right, here we go, guys. January, June 20th. I wish it was January. It's already June. Means that reunion's around the corner, but nonetheless, it's Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Pacific time, and 7 p.m. Canal Zone time. Happy hour at the Balboa Yacht Club. Ricky, you ready to go to the other side tonight?
That's what tonight's all going to be about. The show. We're going to finally, we've been talking about this show and I've been looking forward to it to learn about life on the other side. I mean, even Pink Floyd even did an album called The Other Side.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the dark side. No,
The
that
dark
was-
side. The dark side.
Yep.
Well,
yep.
guys, yes, welcome to our show every Friday. Like always, Willie and I, born and raised in the Canal Zone, here to present you with our Canal Zone way of life and a podcast that is dedicated 100% to the Canal Zone, the Panama Canal, and our way of life.
Yep.
Cheers to everybody.
Salud.
We have a big group already. Well, right on, man. Thanks for joining us again. We're looking forward for this show,
Yeah,
guys.
long
hang
time
in there.
coming.
It's going to be a great show.
Long time coming. My history in the Canal Zone actually started in Coca Solo, but up until 1 year old or younger, in fact. So, I have no recollection of it. I've often kidded around that, my memories of the
I was
Atlantic
smacking
side.
you around. Don't worry about it. It's all good, man.
Yeah, no, my memories of the Atlantic side are the Mount Hope train station, getting off,
Yep.
with the Balboa Rams, and then the high school.
Cayuca race. The Cayuca
Well, I didn't
race.
paddle, so I don't even know
Oh,
the
you didn't
Cayuca race.
paddle? Okay,
So
okay.
those are my two memories of the Atlantic side, and so yeah, been talking about this for a long time. Vern Couturier is going to be joining us here later on tonight, and he's our Atlantic side correspondent who's going to kind of show us the ropes and see how things go there. So that should be a lot of fun. But
Yes.
in the meantime, remember, guys, on YouTube especially, subscribe. Like the channel, subscribe. SCN Canal Zone is the YouTube channel. It's remember, it's kind of wonky how they do that. It's youtube.com/@ SCN Canal Zone. But give us some subscribers there so we can get that algorithm to spread the word to get some more people out. Hopefully some more Atlantic Siders are tuning in tonight and welcome you guys. It's going to be fun to learn about your home. I've talked in forever about, Barnaby Street, Los Rios and Diablo and La Boca and everything else. So it's going to be fun to learn that end of it. So really, really looking forward to that. Also, for what it's worth, guys, we were going to bring this up later, but it's easier to do it now. It gives you guys a chance to jump on board. But for those of you guys who don't know, Kahoot is a fun little trivia game that we play on here. And tonight we figured we'd do a short, quick Kahoot that was going to be about what most of us may or may not have known about the Atlantic side, right? And so we were going to throw out some trivia questions on there. But it takes you register on there. A lot of people are watching this show on TV and they're streaming it, and then they grab their phones to chime in and say hello. Go to Kahoot.it is actually the easiest way to do it. There is a QR code on there as well if you want to scan that. But either way, that PIN number 5273699, you can register, throw a name on there, and register for that. And then in a little while, when Vern comes on, we're going to do a short Kahoot when we get started to see what we know or think we know about the Atlantic side, and then from there we're going to start learning all about that. But anyhow,
Yeah, and guys, prepare your questions too in the comment section. So, like for me, I can't wait to find out where their best burgers were sold. I've heard
Sure.
of 2 places, 2 or 3, so I'm really interested in that.
Yeah, it's gonna
The
be
other
fun.
thing, Willie, is on the Pacific side we had the Causeway, right? So I always
Yeah.
wondered Atlantic side had something similar. So in my opinion, I would think it was that breakwater out there. Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe not. I don't
I mean,
know. So we're gonna find out
well,
tonight
that's
for
something they
sure.
went out and to see. Sure, who knows? But in the
Yeah.
meantime, let's say hello to some of our friends out here. Jim Bradley, good evening, Zonians. William Ricky talked to Keith Jordan yesterday. He said that he thought you lived in Los Rios on Boquerón. By the way, when did you leave the zone? So I left the zone in 1989, January of '89. And yes, I did live on Boquerón. It was the Jablonski's old house, which had the really nice patio area they built in. Plus, they built out on the back side of it, so I had a nice extra room and whatnot. So yeah, that's where I lived, and yeah, till '89, and then we got out of there before the invasion. I think my dad had some a little bit of knowledge of what's getting ready to come down. He said it's time to get out of here. So, nonetheless, but anyway, and yes, again, Jim, I got that DVD writer. I did test it the other day. It worked great. So I'm able to burn CDs and whatnot on there. Chris, good to see you, man.
Hey, Chris.
Somewhere in the world he is. Chris is our flyer. Chris has been in the air for a long time, both on F-15s and then now for
DHL.
I think believe it's DHL.
Yeah, I think it's DHL.
I think it's DHL. Yeah, he flies the 767s there. And Vern
Hey,
on the other side right now, he'll be jumping into the green room here at some point this evening and bring him on. Jill, how you doing? Good to see you again.
Ready.
Yeah, this is gonna be a fun show. This is an Atlantic side show.
Jill,
We're
how
looking
are you,
forward to
Jill?
that. Absolutely. And then Leaf, our perpetual vacationer in Panama now. It's been down there since the 80s or something, vacationing, it seems. Guy's been in Panama forever, man. But good for him, right? Yep, the other side. That's it. We are going to the other side
tonight.
tonight.
All about the other side.
The other side. And by the way, you guys will like the intro tune. It was a tune that Joe Finneman, Atlantic Cider, made this tune. I found it on a video that Ray mocked. Rest in peace, Ray mocked. We just celebrated his heavenly birthday just recently, but they put together a really cool video with this song, and it was an Atlantic Side song, which I thought was fantastic for this. So I reached out to Joe, and he was very gracious to let me use it. So I parsed it up to put it as a short intro song, but it's cool. It starts to give you that whole
Yes.
aura of the Atlantic Side. So looking forward to that.
Our railroad historians on tonight.
Did you see what he's been posting on Instagram today with the route lines coming in? That was really cool. If you guys haven't seen it, PRR History on Instagram is Noria Garcia's channel. He joined us about a month and a half ago.
Yeah, and we actually talked about that station that he's mentioned on his new thing. So right on. Yeah. Check it out, you guys, if you have a chance on Instagram.
Yep, that you are going through some stuff. Yeah, some things here. It's gotten a lot better, and certainly being surrounded by all my Zonian friends and knowing that you have a big Zonian familia is always awesome. That's an easy way to put a smile on anybody's face. So thank you. Yes, things are definitely better. Had a bit of a fender bender, which was the icing on the cake, but it's just been a rough couple of weeks.
Bienvenidos. Yes.
Anyway.
Yes. Welcome.
There we go. Yes, that's absolutely. This is we're in your neck of the woods this time, Jim. And by the way, Jim, I think if I'm mistaken, Jim has that golf tournament coming up. Isn't
correct.
it coming up here in June? Yeah, and feel free to throw it on there, Jim, or I'll look around. I probably have it here saved somewhere, but you might be quicker to throw it on in the chat there. I'll certainly put it up there for you. But if I know it's probably a little bit late for people to sign up, but nonetheless. If you still want to help out, it's for a great cause. So by all means, feel free to throw it on there, Jim. Jim joined us a couple of weeks ago, guys, and walked us through that Gatun transit, which was really, really cool.
That was
so
interesting. That was
folks that are on the Atlantic side that are tuning in for the first time, on the YouTube channel, you can catch all our previous episodes. We've been doing this for over a year now. And a couple of weeks ago, we did a canal transit through the Gatun locks. And it was a southbound transit. It started on the Caribbean and came in. And it was great because Jim was on, I guess, speaking on behalf of the locks, right? Because that's where he worked, was on the locks there. We had Andrew Eftimitis, who joins us regularly to give us a Panama Canal report. He was the pilot on the ship. We had, and gosh, I'm ad-libbing this, so I'm blowing it with names. David Cohen was joining us. He had some troubles there getting on board, and then from Marine Traffic Control, and that's the one, because we switched gears on that several times, but I'm so embarrassed that I have to find the name there. But in the meantime, we walked through an entire transit through the Gatun locks from the time that that Marine Traffic Control sets it up in the computer, gets it all scheduled. Captain Eftimitis gets on the ship and starts bringing it, gets underway, coming in and approaching the locks, and then of course the tugboat approaches and they do their thing, and then of course finally the folks on the locks with the mules and everything else walk it through the locks there. What a fantastic show it was, but we just scratched the surface on what really goes on.
Yeah, we were supposed to go from one side to the other. We just made it through one lock,
and even that one lock, you just scratched the
exciting,
surface.
Yeah. I mean, it was like you almost on the edge of your seat listening to everything that's going on. It was pretty exciting.
Yeah, a lot of moving parts, So what we decided is that each one of these folks is going to come back. And of course, Andrew already comes back on a regular basis. That Panama Canal report is his segment that we throw on here. But the other folks are going to come on so we can learn what it was like working on the locks in general, not just that walkthrough with one ship, but what all the different moving parts are and what the different things and the places underground. I know, Ricky, your sister's familiar with it because she did that one summer.
Summer, yeah. They go check and they looked like through a window or something like that.
Yeah, so that should be a lot of fun doing that.
Yeah, Lee, that's Pacific side. We're talking about Atlantic side tonight.
Yeah, and that was amazing. Those burgers there, I think they were 45 cents. Was the last price that I remember at the YMCA there.
YMCA, really? Over the one over at the
drive-in
library?
Yeah, I was always for whatever reason that place was always called the drive-in.
The drive-in, yeah, absolutely.
I always knew it as a drive-in.
Hey, we got a picture of that too. Somewhere in here.
But yeah, that's gonna be a lot of fun to get that. What I was getting at there was that Jim is going to do a Gatun locks show with us, so we understand everything about the Gatun locks, everything that went on in that building that's in the middle. Because that just the same way you have that big building in Miraflores that are, I guess, iconic pictures when you look at the Panama Canal. That's one of the buildings you always see is those big buildings in the middle. They're the control houses, I guess.
And they also said how Gatun locks went. That's how the canal went. So if the Gatun lock was busy, they were busy. If it wasn't busy, it was the Gatun lock that determined everything about that.
And it was cool that it was very similar in a lot of ways to air traffic control in that, Marine traffic control brought it in. They kind of released it to the tugboats, who then released it to the guys on the locks, who then release it back either to the tugboats again or directly back to Marine traffic control. Then they go through the lake and then repeat it again through each set of locks there. So it's kind of cool to see that whole progression and
operations.
Yeah, man. As Zonians, we knew the canal, but we didn't know how it worked.
We know how it works. That's true, man. That show. You want to learn? That's the show to watch, guys. Class of 61. Hello, Mr. Brown.
Yes, welcome. Glad to have you on. Leaf, another 3 weeks. Yeah, this guy's like a perpetual vacationer, man. Good for him. Rock on, brother. You earned it. Thanks for the shout out. Of course, man. No, thank you for joining us. We'll have you on again. Noyer, again, guys, get on his Instagram channel, PRR_history. Just fantastic pictures and a story to accompany the pictures. It's not just photos out there. So learn a lot of really cool things about the railroad, not just the Canal Zone part of it, but prior and subsequent to that. So really good stuff there at the Canal Zone reunion. We took the train to the other side. It was fabulous. I definitely am looking forward to doing that in January. Ricky and I have been invited to do a live show on Friday night at the reunion in Panama. So looking forward to that. And then maybe have to do we definitely have to do some coverage throughout this thing. And that one will be absolutely iconic to have for maybe the following week's show, so, hey, this was the Panama Railroad, get a lot of coverage, man. Hopefully if we can talk to Tommy Morris, work something out that get a chance to interview the conductor or something.
Hey, Lee, let us know what was your favorite part of that train ride. I want to know.
Yeah, because it looked pretty awesome. There's some amazing pictures taken of that. Okay, so Jim's posting on here regarding that tournament. Next week, 26th will be practice round, and the second annual No Surrender golf event on the 27th at Elk Ridge Golf Course in Carson, Washington. It is a fundraiser. So, Jim, if you have anything else you can post about, where people can help out or donate, by all means, throw it on here as well. We're happy to share it. Mike, how you doing, man? Mike, I think Mike, are you still in Colombia? I think Mike's down in Colombia right now,
Right
or
on,
was
Mike.
there recently. He's been throwing some pictures on some beautiful shots of some really beautiful places there. Mark, good evening. Good to see you, man. How you doing? Yeah, so I was talking to Joe Finneman. He mentioned you guys when we were talking about throwing that song on there for the Atlantic side intro there. So, yep, there you go, Tiernan. That's right. Finally, we're finally giving you guys some love. And maybe Ricky will be nice to you, not rip on you guys so much.
Oh, it's the other way around in this show. You're the one always ripping on them.
I love the Atlantic side, man. I mean, it's somebody that gets beat up all the time. You start falling in love with them after a while. It's like, come on, poor guy. Come here.
I always had great relationship with the Atlantic siders.
I guess the Atlantic side is like Gilligan and the skipper. Come here, little buddy. That's the Atlantic side.
No.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Of course, I'm absolutely kidding. I was born there, man. Come on, I got love for the Atlantic
Coco
side.
Yeah, I want to learn more about like where I mean, obviously it was in Coco Solo, but exactly where it was, the hospital. Was it iconic? I don't remember. Recall seeing the building or anything.
Yeah, I honestly don't have memories of any of that at all. Nothing at all that I can recollect on it. But
tonight we'll learn a lot.
So Jim said the Pan Canal reunion on July 4th. Those of us turning 70 will have a suite to blow out some candles. Right on. Well, maybe, you know what? Maybe we'll help celebrate with you guys. It's funny you mentioned that now, because Ricky and I just now before the show we're talking about the reunion, and Ricky unfortunately can't make it. He's going to be in San Francisco, but of course we have a show to do Friday nights at 8 p.m. So we're debating how to do it. Am I just going to go up to my room and put up a camera and the computer, and Ricky's home in his studio? But if I'm at the reunion, it's kind of, I got to be out there somewhere, I would assume. So maybe I'll walk around to a few places, or if there's some big bash going on, like something like this, I may have to help you guys celebrate there. And then anybody that can't make it, that's turning 70 can join in on the festivities as well.
Join in, yeah.
So more to come. But if you guys have any ideas or thoughts, if you're going to the reunion on something that we can do, I don't want to, the Ciceros were very gracious to offer me that room, and I still may use that, but I don't want to set stuff up and go in a room and have two people there. Okay, how you doing? Right. Make it kind of awkward if that's going to happen. I'd rather walk around with a mic, and then Ricky, you kind of just run the show on the back end. But throw out some ideas if you want, man. Last year was fun, but we got flack for it, and I don't want to.
Jill's bringing it up here about our last year's show. We had Willie and I had a ad lib on where we were going to set up, so. We just made up a story that a manager had at this restaurant, and a manager had given us the permission. So the night manager's like, "What? Which manager?" We're like, "The day manager." Of course, we're just making it up the whole thing, and we ended up doing the show from there. But at the end of towards the end of the show, they kicked us out. It was all live too, so a lot of people.
Yeah, and they were getting eyeballs the whole time. I mean, you'd think that we were. God, who knows what they were thinking, but nonetheless, I don't want to go through that.
That was a fun show, though. Thanks, Jill, for bringing it up.
Yeah, it was
fun. We had a lot of the Zonians were in front of us,
Yeah, because it was in that main bar there where everybody would hang out.
Yeah.
So it was cool. Easy to get
Turned
people
out
to
to be
walk
pretty
by
cool.
and say hello. Yeah. So you're back at home. All right, cool. Right on. Good deal. Well, safe travels if you go back out again. Every part of the ride was great. The cars were first. That's what I've heard. So was the service, the view, etc. Then the souvenirs when you got back to Corozal. Yeah, the passenger train line ends in Corozal now. It doesn't go all the way through to Balboa anymore. In fact, most of that area there, Balboa train station, there's no tracks there anymore. Most of it's been ripped out, as we learned.
Oh, really? That's why they're not restoring that building.
And unfortunately, I think what we've heard is that with this new, bridge and tunnel and metro and all that stuff, that I think they're going to get rid of the whole thing at the end of the day.
Well, I also heard that they ended up saying, well, we're going to save it, but I haven't heard after that if they're going to restore it or,
I mean, but if you got a bridge on top of it and all, I mean, who the hell's going to go and look at something that's being restored, behind a hangar somewhere,
Yeah, you're right.
So
yeah,
it sucks, but
it's going to be gone, guys. Well,
I mean, like a lot of things have. Right. Yeah. A lot of that has, which, if you ever want to go see that stuff, if you're not familiar with it, go to the Pan Canal Museum collection, from the University of Florida. Man, they have such a great digitized collection there of maps, yearbooks, the spillway. We do a spillway episode every so often where we just grab a spillway and Ricky and I just comb through it and read the articles and stuff, because most of it's, they throw names out there and we're like, I know that person. And, oftentimes it's a good friend or a family member. you know, and it's all local, so that's a lot of fun. But that place is a great resource if you want to go back into the zone and check it out. Yep, that's right. Gatun represent. You know it, man. Finally, long time coming, but you know we're gonna
just
finally...
about ready, guys. So again, the reunion's coming up real quick. So some little quick shout outs. Don't forget, there's that cornhole tournament.
Mm-hmm. Ricky's favorite.
The corn throw thing.
Look at
Kurt
that.
McQuillan is running that.
There you got red face.
Yeah, I know, man. Friday afternoon from 12 to 2 p.m. and it's with the bar, so you can go have a couple of cocktails and get your game on. And then don't forget Southern California picnic 629 a week and a couple days from today. Lunch potluck, Southern Cal, Newport Beach. David Lane. Contact him at 619-665-2857. At the reunion, don't forget our 45th Chagres Invitational Golf Tournament. 7:30 a.m. check-in time on Thursday.
I believe there's still openings for that too. There might still be a couple of spots left. I'm not sure, but doesn't hurt to check.
Yep, and don't forget that the Canal Records are online, so you can check out what's going on in the Canal Record on their Panama Canal Society webpage.
Oh yeah, look real quick here. We're just talking about the Balboa train station. It says the station cannot be demolished; it is protected. Okay, cool. So it's a historical site.
Good.
Right
Finally, a good planner there that knows.
Yeah, no
Find
doubt.
out his name so I can send him a thank you letter, man.
Yeah, right. No doubt. Hey, Steve, how you doing?
Hey,
Man?
Steve Tuckerman.
Yeah.
And guys, don't forget, if you want your sauce, your Panamanian Zonian sauce, howlermonkeysauce.com. Put an order in. You'll be shipped right to your house.
Amarillo's the one, brother. That's the one I like to get.
Yes. As well as 100% imported Panamanian coffee. You can get coffee delivered right to your front door at BaduHighlandsCoffee.com. BaduHighlandCoffee.com. Panamanian coffee delivered to your house. All right, guys. That's kind of our shout outs for our Canal Zone reunion that's coming up. Hope you guys all make it and turn it into a success like it was last year.
Yep, absolutely. And don't worry, Tiernan. I'll be nice. I'll be nice to the Atlantic Siders. I'm always nice to them. I just like to kid around, But and like I said, Ricky's the winner. If you look at the past shows,
I got a good experience on when I played heavyweight football at the All-Star game. If you remember, all the Atlantic Siders would stay at one of our house for the game because of all the activity.
It depended on who won the division. Whoever played in the Shrine Bowl, that was a team that hosted practices. So then it would be the other way around. It wasn't often, but if it was Cristobal that won the division, they had the majority of the practice, and people were going over there to practice the same way they had to come over here.
Yeah, but I'm talking about for the game. So for the game, the guy that stayed at my house, I forgot his name, but he was one of the linemen because I was a lineman back then. We exchanged our pants. So I wore the Cristobal Tiger pants, and he wore the Balboa Rams. Well, that was
it was tradition.
I don't know if they ever done that before, but that was something we did. And I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, right on. Good to you.
Yeah,
that was fun. That whole tradition of having them
and
spend the night.
Rory Yeager and John Pierce. So these are all Atlantic Siders until today. Still good friends of mine.
Yeah, no doubt. Cornhole means something else. Of course, Leaf. Count on Leaf to remind us of that. For sure.
Cornhole, man. Couldn't they come out with a freaking better day than cornhole?
Well, Tiernan will. I mean, listen, Tiernan's a school teacher, so he knows how to deal with rebel rousers like me. And Mr. Couturier, Vern's dad, was our principal at BHS. And so, there's that. I know y'all can keep me in line. I'll behave. Don't worry. I don't want to get in trouble.
Willie, let's get to the birthdays because, again,
we got a good list, man.
2 pages. So everybody that sent the birthdays in, thank you very much. We truly appreciate it.
Yep. And don't forget, guys, real quick, Kahoot.it, and put that PIN number in there. Okay, that's what'll get you into this Kahoot here, because we'll start it here shortly after Vern jumps on with us. Or you can scan that QR code. The one on the left, the one on the right is if you want to buy us a beer and help us out here on the show. But the one on the left there is for the Kahoot. It's easier to just go to the website, kahoot.it, and 527-3699, and join us. And let's see what you know about the Atlantic side. And I imagine the Atlantic Siders that are joining us here are going to be able to answer those questions. So, they'll finally get a win against the Pacific, probably so.
What? They brought a coach in just to beat them.
Yeah,
that's a fact.
And it was quite effective.
Yeah, and it
You
was,
know,
it was.
he
Yeah.
created a
So
dynasty of a
thank
team.
you again for all the birthdays. We will. Again, this is a show, a podcast, a happy hour podcast. So we are here to celebrate and nothing like
Indeed, we
celebrating
are.
Zonian birthdays. So
Yep.
Willie, should we get started with the
Amen, brother.
one and only queen of the Canal Zone? Happy birthday to Lisa Corrigan.
Oh yes,
Lisa
indeed.
Corrigan, if you guys, I know every Zonian knows Lisa Corrigan. She is had the good fortune of being beautiful since birth. Happy birthday to you, Lisa. And by the way, all you Canal Zone girls today, all you beautiful Canal Zone girls today, you all celebrate a birthday with Nicole Kidman.
Oh, how
So
about
happy
that?
birthday, Lisa. Happy birthday, Frank Escarraga, good friend of mine. Diane Cloyd, happy birthday. Diane, Dyan, Diane. John Elliott Carlson, happy birthday. Itzel Lawrence, happy birthday. Kathy O'Brien, Robin Williams, Roberto Mano de Piedra Duran,
How
happy
about
birthday to
that?
him. Yeah, I saw you snuck that in there. All
All
right.
right.
Gloria Corrigan, happy birthday to
Yeah.
you. Roberto Cruz Segarra, happy birthday. Barbara Burns. Is that Jill Burns' mom or sister?
I'm not sure.
Let us know, Miss Jill Burns.
Yeah.
Barbara Burns. Jane Sandra, happy birthday.
Mhm.
The beautiful Patricia Fiore, happy birthday. She's in Miami. Cassie Sprague, our favorite
Hey,
one of a
that's right.
kind.
Happy birthday, Cassie.
Happy birthday,
The most
Cassie.
amazing Arkansas Razorback fan ever. I'm telling you,
Yes.
if there's a Hall of Fame for fans, she is a shoo-in in
She's
Arkansas,
got
man.
that. Well,
Ah.
Mary Minor, happy birthday to you, Miss
Happy birthday,
Minor.
Mary.
And Dino Barkimo. Barkimo?
I think so. Yeah, looks like that.
Barkimo, yep. Mito Sukamoto. Happy birthday, mister.
Class of 87.
Class of 87,
Miss.
right on. Miss.
Yeah,
Ryan Underwood. Good friend of my little brother Reynaldo. Happy birthday to you, Ryan. Scott Chisholm.
Yeah,
Derek Smith.
there you go.
Chuck Hummer. Happy
Right on.
birthday. Now, is that dad or son?
I think that might be son. I'm not sure.
Son.
Though.
Okay, yeah. He went to St. Mary, and he's in heaven. So happy birthday to you, Chuck Hummer. Ray Didmar. I went to school with his brother. Giovanni Perry. Happy birthday to you, Giovanni. Bob Barrett. I've heard that name. Happy birthday to you, Mr. Barrett. Basilio Petkits. Happy birthday.
Petkitis. He's in my class. He went back to Greece after graduating, and he's doing some big things in Greece. He's very successful over there.
Yeah.
But we've always kept in touch, and so he was a nice guy.
Yeah,
from
and to
86.
all the guys that are today's birthday, you share a birthday with Bob Vila from this old house. So if you guys are all handy with your hands, well, it's maybe because today was the day that God made all those handymen.
There you go.
Bob Vila's birthday today. And from class of 81, giving Willie broke my contract here. Class of 81 coming at the rear end of the birthday list. Scarlett Espino from Panama. Happy birthday. In heaven, Carol Gesto. My very, very good friend. Everybody in the Canal Zone knows him. Jorge Melendez. Excellent Zonian. And Matthew Modica, out of his father, big military officer living in those big houses up in Quarry Heights that the top guys got. Yeah, the Modicas. So right on, Modica family. Happy birthday to you guys and all you Canal Zone guys. Happy birthday to you all. You all celebrate a great day. And thank you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, anybody that we miss, we don't mean to. Happy birthday to you. One other one we want to mention is our great Zonian friend Donna Date. Her mother, Loretta Date, yesterday celebrated her 99th birthday. How about that? Right on. Very, very nice. So again, happy birthday to everybody. And it's never a birthday celebration without a Panama Murga happy birthday song. So here, enjoy, guys. Second favorite tune, of course, doesn't compare to the Bochinche tune, but that's for
we got Bochinche next week, guys.
Yeah, we definitely have
once a month now. Once a month,
we are definitely long overdue for one of those. So, but nonetheless, it's a lot of interesting things going on. Going back to, for folks that are tuning in for the first time here from the Atlantic side, welcome to the show. A lot of folks, what they do is actually nowadays you can stream YouTube, especially, is much easier than Facebook, but you can stream it to TVs and stuff. So a lot of people will watch it from their TV and then they'll grab their phone and open up the chat window and say hello there. So feel free to do that. And
they're done. Happy
chime in, because we are going to have some questions. Vern's going to explain a lot to us, but certainly you guys chime in as well, and we want to know what life was like on the Atlantic side, not just where everything was, but what you guys did. There was places we used to run around in that we always mention. We talk about the spinning club, we talk about the yacht club, we talk about the causeway, all these different places, even, the slide, the void for those that were in that super ultra secret club there.
Yeah.
And so, but we all know where those are. And so that was part of the Canal Zone experience for us, was growing up in these places, riding down your bicycles down the admin hills, or during the dry season, getting a cardboard and going down those hills on the admin. That's all part of the zoning experience. And you guys on the other side had the same thing. You had your experiences, your hangouts, your shortcuts. Remember going to the ball fields go by the shop class, and there was a big hole in the fence there. You cross the railroad tracks. There's another hole on the other side of the fence, and now you're at the ballparks.
Mm-hmm.
Save you a lot of time. But stuff like that would be cool to learn what you guys did on that side over there. Comparable. I do have a map, because even that, just looking at it, prepping for this, I started looking at just the Atlantic side in general, and just to kind of see how things were laid out, right? And where you had to go to get around at different places. The Pacific side, for the most part, it was all along, Gaylord Highway, and Section I in one area. And then on the other side of Ancon Hill, and that was 4th of July, and everything was inside that area there. Think about it. Balboa, Ancon, La Boca, that was all one big community in essence. And then you go a little further, you got Albrook. A little further, you got Los Rios and Corozal. A little further, you got Clayton. But everything was situated right there. Whereas when you look on the map on the Atlantic side, it's kind of spread out a bit. They're different communities, and it was interesting the way the border between what was Panama, Cologne, and what was the Canal Zone. There's, parts of Coco Solo, you actually, it's just really funky the way the dividing lines go and stuff, and as to where the jurisdiction started and ended. It's interesting.
Yeah, because for us, we had 4th of July Avenue, so it was really, really defined.
Very well defined. It was very easy, and everything was contained in that one area. You go into Balboa, you keep going down Roosevelt, or you turn on what, Carr Street, I guess, and that, feeds into Barnaby and El Prado. But all those fed back to, what would be the name of that? Would it be Balboa Road then? Is the one going by the theater and the commissary?
Mm-hmm. Balboa Road, yes, because Balboa Avenue was the one in Panama.
Correct. And that fed Roosevelt on the backside, and then it would feed Amador Road, or continue on into Panama, into 4th of July.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it. Everything else was neighborhoods. But that was the bulk of the Canal Zone too, as we know, the administrative center, the best football teams, the best, and all that stuff. So, but we're going to learn more of that here as soon as Vern joins us here. But in the meantime, reunion time again, just to go back to that. And by the way, guys, don't forget to jump into that Kahoot there. The code there. Let me go ahead and get that chat down real quick so you can see it. Kahoot.it 5273699 is the pin. There's that QR code there, which will get you on there as well. But you got to get a little close, otherwise you'll accidentally, which is not a bad thing, but you'll hit that buy us a beer QR code instead, which we won't complain about. But yeah, join us. We're going to have a fun little Kahoot here and see what you guys know about the Atlantic side and what kind of, what's going on there. Let me check something here real quick. Double check some messages here just in case.
Yeah, well, Willie, while you're doing that, you have to remember, Willie, when the Atlantic side and the Pacific side were fully, employed. Not that they weren't unemployed, but there was a time when a lot of Atlantic siders came to the Pacific side because they were drawing down. Well, in the mid 60s to mid 70s, there was, let's say, full population of the zone. During those periods, the Atlantic side used to crush us in football.
Oh no, they did.
Yuko, motorcycles. So they're
My first years for Balboa Rams, the heavyweight team, Cristobal Tigers, had a beast of a
yeah.
team.
That's when I played. Yeah, they were
were
champs when I played.
really, really good. I'll never forget Lewis Payne was running back for the Rams, and he had to come out on a play because he got hit so hard they smashed his face mask in. He couldn't pull the helmet off. They had to sit on a bench and take the screwdrivers, pop the cage off so that he could then take the helmet off because they hit him so
Don't be
hard,
making
man.
too much fun of Atlantic Siders. Those guys
Yeah,
are
no,
tough,
it
just
is.
like
It's
the
all in good
Pacific
fun,
Siders,
man. I got nothing but respect. Listen, my worst ever pitching outing for Red Machine was in Cristobal, where every player on that team, I think, hit it, man. I think they must have hit 3 home runs or something. It was it was terrible. That was some guy was in the stands. I think he was a GI that was in. I think he was drunk, man, but he got under my skin like nobody's business, man. That was awful. So I do have some memories of the Atlantic side athletics that definitely I do just kid around with them.
Yeah, well, let's get this show started.
So yeah, let's get it started here because I
right
just checked in the
on
green
mark.
room, and yeah, Vern is in there now. So we're gonna kick it off with our new intro to this new up and coming, because this is gonna be a recurring segment. We're not gonna learn everything about the Atlantic side in one city.
Yeah, we're gonna have
So
several.
we're gonna
times.
have a couple of those come August. We certainly would love to talk about Cristobal Tigers football, and the one thing I've brought up a couple of times of in Little League football at one time, there was a Fort Davis Raiders team.
Mm-hmm. That was during my time too.
I remember playing them at least one season. Some people are like, I never heard of those guys, but yes, they were there. And in fact, Mark Owens, who chimes in on occasion, he played for them. He showed me pictures of when he was on that team. So, but nonetheless, let's go ahead and kick things off here because Vern is waiting patiently in the green room, and we're gonna kick it off here. But we'll have our new intro song, so enjoy.
Catch a train from Mount Hope, ride it to Gatun, riding on out to Pena Beach to play along the shore. Walk the train tracks to the yacht club, you balance on that rail until you hear that whistle from behind. And on the Atlantic side, we like to weekend up on the Atlantic side.
Right, how about that on the Atlantic side? And there he is, Vern Couturier, live from not the Atlantic side, but he's up in Wisconsin right now. He's up in the Midwest. It's not cold now, which is good, but maybe at some point during our episodes it will be the frozen tundra. But Vern, welcome, man. Thanks for joining us. I appreciate you taking the time to teach us all about the Atlantic side. So happy Friday to you, man.
Hola, and greetings from Menominee, Wisconsin. Yeah.
There you go, Menominee, Wisconsin. Right on.
Yeah. If you wanna spell it, you just say me no money and put an IE at the end.
Me no money with an IE. Right on. Okay, there you go, guys. There you go.
It's an Indian name.
Me no money.
Right on. So your family then originates from Wisconsin before going down to Panama?
Correct. Yes. Both my parents are from this area. They both went to school here. This UW Stout is stationed here. And at that time it was called a normal school, and they taught educators. And so both of them were teachers. And after they got married in 1957, they got a job in southern Wisconsin, and that's where I was born. And then they eventually, my dad got a job back in Menominee. He became principal at what's called Menominee North Elementary. Doesn't exist anymore. Like many things we talk about, and
right.
And then eventually through Bob Dahlstrom, my dad got a job down in Panama. Technically, you could say that Bob Dahlstrom had a lot to do with why my dad and why I ended up in Panama.
Right, and the Dahlstroms also have family in Wisconsin, correct? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes, they're over in Door County, which is just, if you look at Green Bay, they're in a peninsula just south of there. Rick Dahlstrom lives there, and the family's original home there.
Oh,
Just
very
got
good.
done renovating it this past summer. So
Very good. Very good. Yeah, I know. And my sister, she's lives in Wisconsin now. Although she now travels around the country. They retired and sold their home and bought an RV, and they've worked their way around the country. But now they've worked their way back to Wisconsin, so they'll be there a couple of months and then head back and do it again. Try out some new places. So yeah, that's kind of cool. But we're not here to talk about Wisconsin.
No, of course not.
Okay, this is not happy hour at the Eau Claire
Stonewall Yacht Club.
Yeah.
No, it's actually Gatun Yacht Club.
That's
I
how we
warned you
should
get me talking. I'll still keep you talking. So just
yeah, right. And do you say a boat? Do your friends and others say a boat and words like that, or is that further north, or is that not a Wisconsin accent there?
Boy, I don't know.
Okay, right on. We'll leave it at that. But you know what, Ricky, that was a good point. Tonight's show should have been happy hour at the Gatun Yacht Club, just in honor of our new friends here. So we'll do that on the next go around here. But before we get started, we've talked about knowing the Atlantic side and not knowing it really, and so we want to do a little quiz here, a little trivia quiz. But let's get hold on.
God, we got some good people up.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that people can hear us, because I always end up doing this and find out later on that nobody could hear you for the last 5 minutes. So let me make sure of that, and in the meantime, get Vern here on the screen so we can see him at least. So yeah, guys, if you see on there, it's Kahoot.it, or again, scan that QR code and then use that pin there. Jump in there. We've got 5 people in there now. Jump in there if you want. It's fun. It's an easy way to do it on your phone. All you do is click on colored squares to answer questions. They're all like multiple choice or true false. But just kind of fun to see what our actual knowledge is of the Atlantic side. And I can tell you, obviously, because I put together this quiz, I know the answers. But prior to that, had I taken this quiz and somebody else did it, I would have failed, because I didn't know much of it at all. Pretty much all of the answers, when I looked at it, I was like, oh, didn't know that. That's pretty cool. So, but we'll give it a little bit more time here. So Vern, while we're waiting for a couple of people to join us here, and you know what, let me make sure that, let me do something real quick, because you'll be able to hear us and we can hear you, but I'm not sure that everybody else will hear you. So give me a second here to do something else. And okay, you are in that scene. So good. So anyway, you headed down to Panama when? Okay, fall of 67. And how old were you in 67? Okay, right on. So it was an age where you were aware, and so what were your first impressions of Panama? Because prior to that, I guess you had been all the time in Wisconsin.
But I got used to that pretty darn quick. Especially as a kid, you acclimate pretty quick.
Yeah.
I do remember my mom not dealing with the heat at first really well.
Sure.
But again, she also acclimated to it pretty soon also. We when we first moved there, our first quarters were in Gamboa, up on the ridge, and
right on.
And our house was a fourplex, and there's, when you go up, oh God, what is it? Is it Goethals? Is that right? I could be wrong about that. Goethals Street or Avenue that goes up there on the ridge.
Right.
Okay. There was a half circle space where it had about 3 buildings in it.
Yeah.
And ours was the one at the end. So it really did overlook the Shaggers.
Right
there. And but that's
where you got your start, was on the Pacific side.
Correct.
But then the bulk of your growing up was on the Atlantic side until you left in you said your class of 80. Yeah. But real quick, let's go ahead and get this going here, because one thing I've learned with this Kahoot is that it if you're sitting idle for too long, it tends to kick you out. So again, guys, you can, if you join late, you join late. But we'll go ahead and kick it off now, just to make sure that we don't have more people drop out of it. But again, just a little fun trivia, and see, we're going to test your knowledge of what you know about some things on the Atlantic side. So anyway, let's go ahead and kick it off, guys. All right, here we go. And I know there's going to be a bit of a lag. You know what? Hold on. I hope I set the time right. I may not have done the time on it. I hope it's not 20 seconds again. If so, I'll turn it off real quick and relaunch it, because it's really fast. Yeah, it's 20 seconds. Hold on, guys. Let me stop this for just a moment.
Yeah, you won't have enough time to answer when it's
Yeah.
at 20 seconds. We got to put it at 45 seconds.
So in the meantime, continue with
In
your.
the meantime, I was going to say Gamboa. Gamboa is not really the Pacific side, the Atlantic side. They're kind of like the mid sides. They're like in the,
right.
right in
They're
the
the
middle.
frontier.
It was definitely the mid-size.
Yeah,
And,
the mid side. They're
you
the
know,
mid side.
and I know some other people relate to this. I remember the one thing I remember in Gamboa was that the mosquito spray trucks came through there quite often. Probably
Balboa
because of all
too.
the water and all that stuff there.
Yeah.
And I was a dumb kid like all the rest of us, riding our bikes behind the doggone spray truck when it went around our circle. And so far, I've yet to feel that I've had any effects from that, but
Yeah.
you gotta wonder.
But you know what? That's probably why you can almost eat anything you want. That's probably why you don't get sick when you go, to different countries.
Well, the interesting thing is that I feel like to a certain extent I'm an experiment because my wife, when we stand outside here in Wisconsin, and there's a lot of mosquitoes here in Wisconsin, I can stand there and they don't bother me at all.
They don't bother you, right? See,
they
me
will
too.
attack her with no mercy.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Those are the benefits we got from following those stupid trucks.
Well, maybe I should have, because I always thought that was crazy to follow that poison truck and breathe in that stuff. But maybe I should have now, because I'm like your wife, man. If
a 7-8-year-old
mosquito, it'll find me. 100 people in the room, it'll find me every time. It never fails. All right. So yeah, it did. Hold on. Let me update the pin, guys, because we had to pull it down because I had the time set wrong on it. So bear with me because I got to put up. Let me see here. All right,
we haven't done it in a while, so we always get a mulligan for all
get a mulligan here.
Technical issues here on this show.
Yeah,
it's part of the show, guys. It's part of being a Zonian and putting together a show for all of us to enjoy each other's company every Friday night, man. And cheers to that, because this is awesome, man. I really enjoy my Fridays with you guys.
Okay, and here it is. Let's go ahead and share this screen again. Do I have it there? Yeah. All right. Oops.
Yeah, I'm really interested to find out who made the best burgers in the Atlantic side.
All right, hold on a second, fellas. I'll share this tab instead. There we go. Okay, there it is, guys. The new pin should be up there on the screen. I know nothing about it. Listen, you and me both, Cassie. Absolutely. I know nothing about it other than Mount Hope train station, which was tiny, and the bus loop there, around the football field. When we go to play ball, that was it. I know nothing else about it. So, but anyway, guys, Kahoot.it. Pin number now is 222-8744. There's Chris, right on. And again, there's the QR code. So we'll give it a moment here and kick it off here to realize it. We don't know a lot about it. Again, I do now, but some interesting stuff there. Some cool stuff. And there's a lot more to come. Like I said, guys, we're going to have Vern joining us, on a regular basis. I think the next one, because the reunion kind of, throws a wrench in plans. And the summer, people have travel plans and stuff. So a little tougher to get some people on. But he's going to join us in August, which will be great. Late August, right around the time that football season starts. School just kicked in. So, plan on doing a Cristobal High School show. And then maybe a Cristobal Tigers football show or something around that. That should be a lot of fun.
Let's get it going because we got a lot of people on.
Yeah, let's go ahead and kick it off. You can still join afterwards if it starts. Don't worry about it. But let's go ahead and kick this off and see what you guys know about
Margarita.
All right. Margarita. Here we go. When was Fort Randolph completed? Okay, we're going to get some options here. 8th of April, 1920. 7th of April, 1920. 9th of April, 1920, or the 10th of April, 1920. Well, at least we know it was in 1920. We know that. We know it was in April.
And it's in April.
All right. Exactly. That's about it.
8, 9, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah, one of those days. The 7th of April is my dad's birthday, so that'd be kind of cool.
Right on, man.
Fort Randolph birthday. But, again, we have this lag that we used to think it was 8 seconds, but heck, I've seen it sometimes with lag is like 12 and 13 seconds. So it depends on the bandwidth and the traffic. But the first time we did the Kahoot, although it was a lot of fun, by the time people saw it on the screen because of the lag, the timer was almost up.
It was up,
We were
right?
like,
you had about
"Give
2
me
or 3
5
seconds.
Yeah. So, I had to extend them to 45 seconds, but the default setting is 20. And so when I created this one, I forgot to set the time on them. So anyway, all right. So let's see here. We have the answer is the 9th of April of 1920 was when Fort Randolph was created.
Yeah,
So
we'll
let's see who got
find
this
out
one
about Fort
first.
Randolph. First time I even heard of a Fort Randolph.
Okay, and look at that, boy. You
Oh,
guys
well, it's
rocking
good.
and rolling, man. Like we said,
All Pacific Siders.
yeah. How did the town of Margarita get its name? From a historical figure, from a famous drink, from Margarita Island, or from a local flower? Here we go. Was it a drink? All
I
right.
would say if I had to choose, I would go with flour.
Well, I'll tell you what, if I was from there, I'd say it was from a drink. Just because that's a cool one. But
I know, man.
let's see what y'all think here.
They definitely got the Margarita song as their national anthem. Nobody in the
Yeah,
Pacific
for
Side
sure.
could use that song. Just
All
wouldn't,
right.
wouldn't fit right.
Okay, well, here it is. So we got Margarita Island was correct, and one person got that wrong. 2 people thought it was a historical figure, somebody named Margarita, and then 4 people thought it was from a local flower. They listened to Ricky here, who knows nothing about the Atlantic side. So there you go. That's what you get for listening to
Well,
Ricky.
you know, I went with the one answer that seemed to be the furthest from the truth. You know,
All right, there we
that
go.
kind of stuff.
JSB,
All right.
right on. Okay, trying to figure out who JSB is.
That's all right. Let's go.
Let's
Let's go.
figure that one out. But moving right along, so somebody's on the board at least. What year did construction of the Margarita town site start, and why? Oh boy, I'm not sure the why is going to pop up there.
With our historian.
Yeah. So you don't have to worry about the why part, but at least when did it start? 38, 41, 40, 39. Holy cow. You got those numbers all random too. Okay. The Margarita town site, what year did construction start? Interesting.
And was that the big town site like Balboa? Would Margarita be the Balboa of the Atlantic side?
That would be a great question for
Great
our
question.
Atlantic side correspondent, Vern
Mr.
Coteria.
Vern Coteria. Atlantic side. Okay.
There you go.
cool.
There you have it,
go.
folks.
Yeah.
Margarita it is then. So it looks like one person got it right in 1939. One person thought it was 1940, and 4 of you guys thought it was 1941. Oh, and one thought it was 38.
So right during the war, they started building it.
Isn't that interesting? I wonder if that means that they're moving things around and having to move people around.
A
Maybe
lot
for
of
defense
ships were
and stuff.
definitely coming in, bringing in materials.
Okay. There you go. All right. So same answer. Same person got this one right on. Okay. Well done. Let's move on to the next one then. Number 4. What other area was considered for a housing area for the third lock workers? Okay.
Let's see.
So look at that. So was it Gatun? Was it Agua Clara? Was it Coco Solo? Or was it Fort Davis?
For housing. Fort Davis. would be
And bonus points if you know the
military.
first name of the Davis fella that they named this fort after. So what was the housing area that considered for the third lock workers?
I
Interesting.
think I would go with.
What is
I
that
would
one?
go with
Agua Clara? What? Agua Clara is the name of the big locks they have now.
Yeah, if I eliminate 2, I would eliminate Aqua and Fort Davis. So either Coco.
Well, and remember, Gatun had to be moved because of the dam.
Gatun had to use a.
The actual original Gatun was at the base of the dam.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh,
All right, here we go then. So we got 3 people got it right. Agua Clara. 1 person thought Gatun, 1 thought Coco Solo, and 1 thought Davis.
For the third locks.
Uh-huh. All right, look at that. Oh, look at that. A lot of people on the board now. Now we got a game here. All right, Cassie, we got to get you on the board here. I'll have to start feeding you some clues here.
All right, Cassie, I haven't got one right either.
What was the area we now call Margarita used for before it became a town site? What was it
Good
used for?
question. What was it used for?
Okay, well,
Being that it's the big hog farm.
was it agricultural land? Was it a residential area, commissary division for hog farm? Wow, really? Was it a military base? There's a lot, that's the one interesting thing about the Atlantic side. It seems like there was a lot of military installations. They seem to occupy a big majority of the land there.
Yeah, like Fort Sherman. I want to hear more about that.
Yeah, interesting. All right, guys. So listen, there's a thing that I teach guys at work, on sales training about paying attention to details and stuff. And I didn't realize this when I threw this one together. The picture that I threw in there was a major clue. It was a bunch of hogs, and one of the answers was a hog farm. I was like, wow, everybody's gonna get that one. And well, no,
Two people got it. Two people got it.
Yeah, I guess you could consider that agriculture if you see pigs, but it was Commissary Division's hog farm was there. And
Well,
then they tried to make
agriculture
it
would be,
margarita.
they almost get half a point for that.
Yeah, he is A for effort, I guess, on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Right on. Sure. Probably. It would make sense.
Was that like a party spot or the Red Barn or what? What? Why do you remember it? Okay.
Okay. Interesting.
Oh yeah.
Right
Well, it
on.
was.
Sure. Well, if somebody knows, throw it in the chat there. We can't hear Vern with the stats on the screen.
We're
Oh no.
gonna have
Okay.
to get one of our
Gotcha.
historians.
Okay, so let me do something here because we can't hear Vern. They said add the scene. There we go. Let's do this, and we'll just throw him into the background. All right, how about now? Go ahead and start talking again, Vern.
Hello.
Sing us a song. Sing us a good
No.
old Green Reason.
Oh no, you don't want people to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to lose audience quick, man. Start getting Vern and Ricky and Will start singing, man. Forget about that. But
Yeah,
okay, let's
forget
move
about that
along
singing.
then on that. So 6 out of 10. I do believe that you guys can hear him now. If you can, throw it in the chat there. What year did Cristobal High School move to Coca Solo?
Oh, this was recently we learned about this. Let me see if I remember. 58,
Okay,
60,
58, 59, 60, or 61? What are we thinking here, guys?
I'm
What
guessing.
year did it move there?
If I had a guess.
And you guys, again, let me know if
normally when
somebody
I would
answers
take-
after they answer it, I guess. But
Yeah.
let me know if you guys heard Vern in there. He sang an amazing tune. The guy's an incredible singer.
Yeah, that was great, man. That was almost Julio Iglesias like.
It was very Grammy like. But all right, guys, what are we thinking here? What year did Coca Solo get the Cristobal High School?
Salam.
Okay, so we spread that one out across the board there. It was 1959, so
Oh yeah, right.
pretty
I
evenly
thought
spread
that
out
was-
there.
Yeah, that was.
Okay.
We talked about that last week. I mean, the beginning of the month with our Dahlstrom historian.
Well, but truth be told, if we had asked the question, when did Balboa High School move from the elementary building over across the street, we probably wouldn't know that one either. So
38. No, just kidding.
All right, let's see who's where on this one. All right, 1916, 7. Okay, look at that. David D. Is that David Dahlstrom? 1656 on the board here. Panther. Okay, everybody's on the board, though. Here we go. Tiernan, come on. Really? How you in this place, man? Come on. All right. Atlantic Cider, just saying. All right. What was the new CHS building used for by the Navy before it became a home for the Tigers? Okay.
No way, really? It was a Navy building.
It was a Navy building. Look at that. It looks kind of naval there,
It
doesn't
looks Pentagon-ish.
it? Yeah, sure does. Sure does. Training facility, supply depot, a rec center, or barracks and company HQ. All right. What are we thinking here, guys? U.S. Navy had that building before the Tigers, huh? Okay. And you know what's interesting? I guess from that look there. All right. Well, never mind. It's gone now. But all right. It was barracks and company headquarters. So 2 people got that right. 2 of them thought it was a rec center.
That's what I would have gone with. Yeah.
Supply depot. It didn't look supplierish. I didn't really see any warehouse stuff there, but any one of those, I guess, would have qualified. Let's see what we got here. All right, still on top. JSB
on top, hanging on the top spot.
Jay's right there, right behind him, though. Okay, let's see what's next here. We got 3 more questions: 8, 9, and 10. How many other similar buildings were constructed in Coca Solo? So that architecture and that style. Okay, there was a couple more built that in that same style. What do we think? It was 1, 2, 3, or 4.
Well, just so you know, the picture you have up right now is not one of those buildings from
Yes,
Coca-Cola.
and I figured that was the case, and I looked and looked and looked. I couldn't find one, so I was like, "Well, let me put a
Oh.
different angle, and it's got a bit of a shading to it, so I will
Okay.
fool people until Vern let the cat out of the bag." Thanks a lot.
Sorry.
Oh, he's a Atlantic sider, that's what he's here for.
That's it, exactly. Set the record straight. Okay,
Set the record straight.
there we go. So it was 2 other buildings like that, and 5 people. Look at that. How about that? Was that a lucky guess, or did we do a Google search there? But right on. One person thought it was 1, so it was in fact
I'm
2.
impressed we got that.
Yeah, and a lot of people
and,
did.
and a lot of people too. Right on, guys.
That is our
Good to know our history, man.
Okay, look at Tiernan Breeze had a record of 3 straight. Okay, well done. Look at you.
JSB
On the hot
hanging
streak.
on up there.
Mm-hmm.
Dupree moving up. Right
All
on.
right, here we go. Okay, the next one and 2 more questions, guys. Here we go. What private company now occupies the former CHS building in the former town of Cocosolo?
Oh, all those.
So now you can see that entrance the way it looks, but what do we think that is, guys? And initials will do, or even I guess you can't pick it here, but if you had to write it in.
Private company is using that building now. Or
Yeah,
is it-
remember that whole rotunda's there. I mean, you'll see on one of these other upcoming pictures. You'll see it the same look, but obviously a lot further back.
Yeah,
very
Alex
interesting.
Reyes just posted a picture of some projects he was doing there.
Manzanillo International Terminal is correct. That's right.
Oh,
MIT.
yeah.
And they got a big
MIT,
M, a big blue M on their logo. The picture that I got that from is actually a long picture, so I ended up cropping it because then it would be too obvious what it was then. But yeah, it's the entrance is the same, but different, right? They've modernized it a little, but it is still that same iconic with that roundabout where I guess it's almost like a bus loop or something, and they had the flagpole in front of it.
Yeah, I've seen some close-ups of that, and it's totally different. It's got waterworks in it,
Okay.
and all that kind of thing. And then that front entrance, that's all glassed in.
I saw that. You can see that on
and
that
then
picture there.
The interior, and I'm drawing a blank right now on a classmate of mine who's posted some pictures because he was able to get in there.
Oh, right
and
on.
the inside is just totally different in that center section. My understanding is that the wings on either side, that company, that MIT, owns the center section and the section to the right, but the left-hand side is being operated by something else. But I haven't quite figured out what that is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
maybe Henry Joseph can look it up. I think he's still in the as like an agent, a shipping agent business. So you might.
But if you look at the roof, just like the roofs all over the former Canal Zone,
right?
The MIT they replaced the roof. You can see that in the pictures,
right?
But on the other side, they haven't replaced the roof, so it still looks like the old original roof.
Oh, nice.
I'm surprised that it's still standing, frankly. But yeah,
it's a testament to the construction.
Yeah, maybe.
Right on. All right, look at here. So one more question, guys, but and it's anybody's game. Okay, you got to get a quick answer here, though, if you want to catch JSP, because that was got a bit of a lead here. But here we go. Last question. What was moved in 1959 to the new CHS and now part of the Pan Canal collection at the University of Florida? There was something there. As you can see, that's the front of that other one we just saw there. Obviously, looks much different there.
Yeah, that's what it looked like when I was there. Yeah,
right on. And it even looked different when I was there playing football when we pull up there, and now obviously it's much different.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so it's a school bell. Yes, indeed. The school bell was moved to this location in 59 when the school opened up there. And then now it's up at the University of Florida in that Canal Museum collection. Great place, by the way, guys. And they're preserving a lot of the Canal Zone memorabilia and a lot of the publications and all those things. And what is it, Ricky? $36 a year is membership to support them? $26. 50 cents a day, basically. Or 50 cents a week. 50 cents a week to support the Canal Zone Museum. So, get involved, help them out, check them out online, guys. They've got some amazing stuff going on there. But so anyway, that's the history of Margarita.
Let's see. Fun.
It was interesting to see what it was. Oh, look, JSP got popped on the end there. Tiernan almost came back, but number 1, first place.
Oh, Tiernan, second place.
How about that? Is David D. Oh, boy, there you go. Well, these guys.
David took it at the very end. Oh, David.
I am not surprised.
Right. Certified
Bowerman
Zonian
did a good
Victorian.
job, but he was holding on to that first place the whole
Yeah,
time.
That's
That
what
was that was
John
good. That
Bowerman,
was good.
Right on. Very
Good
good.
job, Willie. Good job,
That
guys.
was a
Good
lot of
job,
fun,
everybody.
man. So,
Hey, I
anyhow,
got a question for you, Cristobal guys. The water, we like us Pacific guys, we didn't know the water was so close to you guys. Did you guys like go to the water and hang out there, like between
Yeah,
periods,
good
or
thought.
was that like a, like when you skip class, would you go out there and hang out? What was the deal
Okay.
with that water being
Well,
so
I can
close?
tell you, Ricky, that I did not.
Yeah,
The,
yeah. I mean, like me, I
the
was always
ocean
at the
was right
library.
there, but that area behind the school,
Uh-huh.
when I lived there, there was big hangars back there, and
Okay.
actually, when we would, when at Christmas time they would ship trees down,
Okay.
and there were, it wasn't, I'm trying to remember, toward the end it wasn't this way, but that when we first moved over there, when those trees would come in, they would actually take them to those hangars back there. That's where you went if you were on the Atlantic
Okay.
side to get a tree. That's where you went, and scrambled in. They would have the hangar doors closed, and you stand outside, and then they would open them, and you go running in there, get a tree. And if you had a family like mine with 4 people in it, all 4 people went and grabbed a tree, because if you didn't, you probably were not going to get a very good tree.
That's funny.
But yeah, so that whole area back there was concrete technically. And as far as I mean, again, I don't know if this is a fact or not, but I would be willing to bet that those container cranes that are back there now,
Right.
probably are sitting on that original concrete that was poured back there. But I don't know if that's true or not. But that whole area, it's fortunate in a sense, as far as the fact that the building is still there.
Right.
That company decided to keep it, because absolutely everything else in that area is gone.
Yeah, it's a big shipping
Everything
terminal.
is gone.
It is giant cranes and gantries and just rows of stacked shipping containers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to crop to get all that, because it was a very obvious clue. If you look at it, you realize exactly what that is, because it is nothing like the school at that point.
Right. Yeah.
Obviously, the football field's gone, the pool's gone, all that's gone, right?
Exactly. Everything. The gym is gone too. It was a beautiful gym. It's really sad.
Yes,
They got
I do
rid of
remember
that.
the gym. Yeah, it was beautiful.
Right. Very
Kind of like Kurundu, new like that.
Sure. So let's take a look at something here, guys. I've put up a map here, and of course, this is of the whole canal zone here prior to the treaties, of course. But we're going to zoom in to the Atlantic side here, because, again, guys, I'm familiar with the Pacific side. I can still, close my eyes and tell you how to get, from point A to point B and know what roads to take. And I still remember most of the names, in fact. But like I said, the layout was pretty common there. Here, it's I don't recognize any of this stuff, as far as being familiar with what was where. So Vern, kind of walk us through here what we're looking at. I guess starting from the lake Gatun, where the locks are, and from there, kind of tell us where the neighborhoods are and what we were just looking at, the school.
Okay. Well, okay. So, first of all, let's start at the top. I guess that'd be the best way. So, that area toward the top there, that kind of looks like a circle, that's where Fort Randolph was. You're saying I'm talking about
Cologne
and Limon Bay, up at the very top above Cologne, at where the breakwater ends.
Oh,
right?
where that?
Oh,
okay,
yes.
Right there you go. Yep, that's where Fort Randolph was.
That's Fort Sherman. The other side, there it is.
Yep. And I can't speak for everybody that lived over there, but for me, that was a playground for me. I mean, I spent a lot of time investigating that area, when I lived there. And that's Margarita Island. So that question you had in there, that's where that's located. So
I see.
And then
okay. So it's funny, because that's not Margarita, the town site.
No, but they took the name from that island to make Margarita.
And did you guys go out to that break point? Was that like a hangout spot or no?
No, I don't remember making it a hangout site. I mean, as far as the water and the ocean water there, I didn't spend a whole lot of time there. My Gatun Lake was my playground as far as water is concerned.
Yeah.
But as far as, and then there's Galena Point, which is right at the top. You can see that now in the deal.
Yeah.
The Navy had a antenna array out there that was used for communicating with submarines.
I was going to say, I thought it was submarines. I had heard something about that. Okay.
Yep. And then also the Smithsonian had an institute. So if you look at the road going up there, you see that it branches to the left at the very end, to the left and to the right. If you went to the left, excuse me, you went to the antenna, and you probably didn't get very far because there was guarded back when it was active.
Right on.
If you went to the right, then you went to the Smithsonian Institute's site there. And
so let me ask you, that road there, then right before the T, that long straight going north-south there, that area there, is that military or is that Canal Zone?
That was
civilian.
I would say it was all. I mean, you look at the wording on your map and so forth there. So that whole area, I would say it was military, pretty much the whole time that we were there. Because you had that Navy station up there.
Sure.
Fort Randolph obviously was military, and Solo originally, and France Field was definitely military. And as you go further south from there, you get Fort Gulick and then Fort Davis.
Oh, look at that!
As you move down.
Yeah. Those are on the south. I guess what you'd call the south side of the Atlantic side community, almost.
Yes.
But so now this road here that's under the lettering Fort Randolph there, is that like the entrance maybe with the guard gate there or something to enter that area, or was that even a thing?
As far as going out to Galena Island, I don't remember ever there being a guard shack right out there.
Because on the Pacific side, any military installation, there was a guard base.
Oh yeah,
whether it was Rodman, Albrook, Howard, even Amador. Which we consider one place that kind of had that throughfare because of all the Canal Zone facilities there. But
Albrook on the back gate was only from certain times to certain time, and then nobody would be there. You could just get right in.
Right. Well, they would close. They had a gate. So
they would close it?
Heck yeah, they would swing those gates and close it.
I just remember signs when you when you went up to the end of the road there at Galena Point, that if you went left, there were signs that said no trespassing and so forth.
Mm-hmm. And so now in the middle there, it says Solo, and there's France Field.
Mm-hmm.
Where the high school is?
Yeah, where's the high school in this area here?
Well, where you see, and I'm going to destroy this name because I'm sure I'm not saying it right. Manzanillo.
Manzanillo.
Okay. Where the O is at the end there.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much where the high school was.
Okay. Wow.
All right. Interesting. Wow. See, it's funny that I can't envision any of that at all, even approaching there. So now, so let's take, for example, it's 1981, or 1979, 1980, and we're on the train, Balboa Rams, and we pull into Mount Hope. I see Mount Hope right here.
Where?
That's where you have it on the map is correct. Yep.
So is the train station right there, pretty much where the pointer is right now? If you can see my pointer.
Yeah, I would say so. Say so. Yeah.
And then I guess this is the main road we're going to take there. It goes around past Rainbow City and all that. Is that correct?
Yep. And there was you talked about shortcuts in a sense.
Yeah.
When we would travel from the high school to Margarita, and then also to Gatun and all that, there was a road, I believe it was called Division Road, that branched off from there. And I think it's on your map there. Yeah. So how do I explain that? So where it says Rainbow City, where the Y is there, you see, see the roads coming together there?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, well, if you go down, in a sense, and kind of curve around, that was the Division Road.
This one here that bends like
that
this?
That one there, yep. That took you off the main highway and took you into Margarita. Yeah.
You see, and there's Margarita, which is,
the Balboa.
Now, so distance, for example, where the O is on Manzanillo here, we said that's where the high school is, give or take. Mm-hmm. So from there to Division Road, then how far is that?
Oh, geez.
Roughly, give or take. 5 miles, 20 miles, 2 miles?
I think it was about 3 miles.
Oh, wow. Okay. So it was
pretty far. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm probably wrong on that, but I guess I never even thought about it.
Diablo to
Trying to remember how long
Balboa
it
High
take to
School.
get there because when I got my first car, I would drive myself to school,
Right.
and of course I
And
would
you're
time
hauling
it so
ass, so
that
you
I
don't pay
got there
attention
just
anyway.
at the right time.
Right.
As I remember, it took me maybe 8-9 minutes to get to school.
Okay.
Yeah,
So would that be equivalent to, let's say, Diablo to Balboa High School from Diablo?
yeah, I guess so on a good day. As
Okay,
far
right
as
on.
no traffic.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Very cool. That's interesting. And now here's Fort Gulick. So
Mhm.
now the bases that we had on the Atlantic side there, roughly how many bases were there, and what was their configuration? There wasn't anything Air Force, right? Because France Field was Army, wasn't it?
France Field, as far as I know, that's a good question. I'm not sure. I thought all of
I
that
thought that
area
was an older
was the
field
Navy.
that was
I thought
Army
it was all
Air Force.
Navy, but maybe it
Or
might have been
Navy.
Army.
Okay,
You know,
interesting.
yeah,
But you didn't have any Air Force installations on the Atlantic side, did you?
no, none. No, there were no Air Force per se
Okay.
on the Atlantic side.
Now, was Fort Randolph a true military base, or did they just name it Fort Randolph?
Oh no, that was where the big guns were. That was
Oh,
an
okay.
artillery. That was for the defense of the canal.
Oh,
and
right on.
and so Randolph was a pretty good sized installation compared to well, there's Fort de Lesseps, which I was thinking about this the other day when I was doing all this stuff. I'm thinking, you know, if war ever came to there, man, I would be moving a long ways away because those things are going to be targets. I
Right?
ain't living in Cologne anymore.
Yeah, no
You
kidding.
know, but Fort de Lesseps was in Cologne, and then Fort Sherman also had big batteries also. But there were actually rail guns at Fort Randolph, and actually, from what I understand, again, this is long before my time, mind you, but initially when they first built out there, the only way to get there was to take the train. They actually had a spur off of at Mount Hope that went all the way out there, and that's how they got the rail guns out there.
Okay. Okay.
And I'm making an assumption here, but I'm assuming that the Panama Canal Railroad must have given them some help in getting munitions
Oh, I would certainly think
and those
so.
rail
Yeah,
cars out there. Because I don't know how else they would have done it.
sure.
Um, because I've never heard of the Navy, at least in Panama, owning any railroad engines. So
Yeah, right. Yeah, no kidding. Well, and I don't think that island had anything that would allow a ship to moor up to it and just unload them directly on the island. You'd have to transport them there.
no, I don't think so either. No, I mean
Okay.
there was like a coral beach along there,
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah.
So now, where is Cologne in relation? Because this is just a map of the canal zones. It doesn't show anything. Everything yellow is Panama, but it's not really labeled too well. Where's Cologne in relation to this?
It looks like the one that's highlighted there.
It shows Cologne
Oh
and
yes,
yellow also. It's right there in the middle of
Right
your
in the
looking
middle of
over
the
to the
water
east of it.
almost.
There you go.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Isn't
And,
that funny how that is Panama and it's
mhm.
surrounded by canal zone? In essence.
Oh yeah, well that was always contention. That's why we've eventually, from what I understand at least, signed a treaty with Panama. I'm not sure. I think early 50s.
Yeah, 55.
Where we moved what was called New Cristobal out of
Correct.
there, and that necessitated moving people out of and moving them over to Cocosolo. A lot of people that lived there, I understand, moved over to Cocosolo and then also Margarita
Interesting.
when that happened.
Oh, that's cool. That's interesting. That is really interesting how that is surrounded by the zone in essence, other than water,
Yep.
technically.
Yep.
But and then we're throwing some stuff in the chat here just to get caught up here. That's just really cool. Everybody can chime in and help out and fill in some details or throw some color in it. Galita, like Summit Antenna Farm. Okay. So that's that long range communication.
Yeah.
Yep.
Willie, go back up there. You'll see to the right, there's a little area that is kind of like circled
Yeah.
up, then down to the right. I guess that would be yeah. Keep going. See that area up there, right to the right of Galita, and it's
Yeah. Las Minas.
what? Yeah,
It
what
says Las
was
Minas.
that?
Couldn't tell you. Don't know.
That there, because it seems to be jutting out that island. For some reason, they kept that island there. It was Largo Remo looks like the name of that island, but that for whatever reason just kind of pops out, doesn't it?
I wonder if it might have had some. Again, the Smithsonian Institute did a lot of things out in that area.
There you go. That might
that's
be
all
it.
there is.
Maybe that might have something to do with it. Other than that, I really have no idea.
Or they're saying, you know what, Panoff, you're going to take Cologne, and we're going to take this spot over here. It's like an even trade there.
Perhaps,
But
yeah.
interesting. That's funny. And then what else we got here? Our ride from Gatun to CHS was probably 20 to 30 minutes on the bus. Okay.
That makes sense. Gatun was quite a ways away, actually, to
Okay.
CHS.
And then John Catanzaro said, okay, so Fransfield was an amphibious plane. Oh, there you go.
Yep.
Makes sense because it's right along the water there.
Yep.
And I would imagine back in the day before development, it probably was a ramp there from the water that you could ride up and go across.
Yeah, there were. If you walked out there, you would see them, yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, very cool. We'll have to try and find some pictures of that somewhere. And Tiernan's also adding Davis, Gulick, and Sherman were Army. Okay, right on.
Yep. Okay, that makes sense.
Oh, there
Yeah,
you go.
Davis is like right around Margaritaville, right? Where is Davis? We know
Margarita,
where
not
Gulick.
Margaritaville.
Oh no, we see Gulick there, right underneath Margaritaville, and we know Sherman's on the
Three times.
opposite side of the water.
You guys catching that? What is that place, Ricky?
What
What's the name of that place?
did I say? Margaritaville?
3 times. But hey, that's very Zonian and Margaritaville. It makes sense to me. Don't too many people push back on that.
Margarita.
Fort Davis on the way out to Gatun. Okay. So let's go a little further south. There it is, Fort Davis. And remember, I said that trivia there. What was Fort Davis' first name? If you spotted there, if you had a good eye there, Davis is closer to Gatun. Tiernan says, okay, cool.
Yep.
Right on. Yeah, so Fort Davis was named after old Billy. Remember old Billy Davis, right? No, William Davis. William D. Davis, mind you. Okay, so there it is. There's Fort Davis. And that was, I guess, was that where Channel 10 was? Was that where the TV station was? Because remember, they used to do the call signs back then was Channel 8, Fort Clayton, Channel 10, Fort Davis.
You're probably right. That makes sense, yes.
Okay, so was that like a big base?
I couldn't tell you where in Fort Davis the building would have been. I can tell you where it is at Clayton, but I can't tell you where it was at Fort Davis.
How about the famous Gatun Yacht Club? Shows that.
Yeah, where's the Gatun Yacht Club here?
Move down a little bit. So you have Gatun there.
Yep.
Now, originally, it was pretty much where the new Aqua Clara locks are, where they come out there.
Okay.
So it's been moved up. I mean, it's still in existence technically. It's moved up to the right, but I couldn't really tell you on the map exactly where that is now. But also you can see if you see the dotted lines there where the railroad used to go.
Yeah.
Right there. That's all gone too. That's been moved up. Where you see where it says Saddles up there.
Yes.
The train kind of curves around up in that area now. It doesn't even get close to Gatun anymore.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
All right, so it's on the lake. I thought maybe it'd be over where the other stuff is, Coco Solo.
No, it was right there on the lake. Yeah,